Reserve Bank has released quite interesting statistics for 2019. It appears as though the investment strike that many had attributed to the private sector is indeed over in South Africa. In the second quarter, we saw a 16% growth in investment compared to the first quarter, and that's positive, real build. And indeed, in the third quarter, we saw 11% growth. The first quarter for 2019 yielded 2%. These are hard statistics that you can't really argue with. And what the key message really is here is that the private sector is investing at a time when government is actually not investing that much in the economy. Indeed, 2019 statistics, again from the South African Reserve Bank, show that government actually invested less each quarter. We don't have the fourth quarter statistics available yet, but the trend certainly indicates that private sector is likely to continue to have invested in the fourth quarter and indeed through into 2020. What's so key about this is that fixed investment both contributes to GDP growth in the quarter, has an immediate contribution, but indeed also has a further contribution longer term. Building this capacity we're talking about in 2019 pushes through the productive capacity into 2020 and increases this year's potential for growth as well. And of course, a number of individuals have looked at private sector investment, and they've said a lot of this is still not enough because of the fact that corporates tend to have large savings. Again, this is a misunderstanding. If you compare it to Eskom, for example, Eskom doesn't have savings and as a consequence has to borrow to replace its capital equipment. Corporates do tend to build up savings, that's quite correct, in order to replace depreciated assets. In the absence of corporates building up savings, they'd have to borrow. And if they ran out of borrowings, there'd be no one to bail them out, like the South African taxpayer has been bailing out Eskom and other SOEs. So the point really is that looking forwards, we expect stronger growth. But of course, where do these corporate savings go to? That's also quite a key point for us to understand. And of course, these corporate savings tend to be placed in the banking system to earn interest rates, to earn yield on the investment until they need it to replace depreciated assets or indeed to invest further. The banking system itself, due to regulations, state regulations, need to invest in a large amount of government paper, high quality liquid assets, government bonds. And of course, as a consequence of this, they tend to earn the higher yields. Government is a dissaver, it borrows, it doesn't save. Household savings tend to be fairly flat as a percentage of GDP. Corporates are the only sector which borrows substantially corporates are the only sector which saves substantially in South Africa. These savings essentially are used, as we said, through the banking system to buy government debt. And of course, government has been a massive borrower over the past decade, providing a lot of paper. So if government were to say to corporates, stop saving and invest, well, corporates would need to go to the banks and say, can we have our savings back? And of course, the banks would need to go to government and say, look, we need to now sell your treasury bills and your government bonds and paper because we need to pay these corporates back with their cash so they can invest in the economy. A difficult situation for government if suddenly it's asked to make good on its loans and events through treasury bills and bonds.